This is Marketing Jam, a show featuring the brightest minds in marketing.
Brought to you by Canada Post. Head to canadapost.ca/insight podcast for ideas to add value to your marketing.
All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Marketing Jam. This is a special episode where we are announcing something new in Canada for those in marketing. So I have Dixon with me, who's going to introduce what they're up to. So Dixon, why don't you introduce yourself and what you are launching in Canada?
Yeah, Darian. I'm really excited to say that we've run these things around the world, and we're bringing the Canadian Search Awards to Canada. We're going to have that in Toronto, and it's a great opportunity to bring out the best in search, the best in digital marketing, and it's really an opportunity for people to put their best foot forward. We've run this all over the world. We've got run them in the US for a long time. It started in the UK. There's European Search Awards as well, and these things get hundreds and hundreds of people coming in and entries. And the great thing about it is that it's agencies are putting. It doesn't have to be an agency, but it's usually agencies that are putting in awards either for their clients or for their agencies. And the judges themselves are all experts within the industry, and so the judging is really critical to the whole process. And they will bring out a shortlist, and then there's a fantastic Oscar-style dinner, which I think is going to be in Toronto for this first award, and we find out who's won, and great plaques and a great opportunity to sell that to your business, to sell that that flag, that mantle of success to your customers, to your audience. When I was entering in the UK when I was with Majestic, what I found as well was that it was actually hugely valuable for the employees themselves, because quite often, maybe a lot of agencies have got a front person, front woman, front man, and and they get all the glory for everybody else's work. It's a great opportunity for that award to come back to the people that put in the hard work, and show that their work is the best in the country.
Wow. So Dixon, when did this award start?
So this is going to be the first one for the Canadian Search Awards. The whole of some of the ones back in the UK Search Awards, I think started in 2011. I was involved as a participant, and I managed to win a couple of awards along the way. And then in later years, I was lucky enough to win in 2018 a sort of a lifetime award, which is absolutely fantastic. And the only other person that's won one, I think, is Bill Hunt, has won one in America. And then I kind of thought, what, this is doing a good stuff for the industry. So I'll sort of love to be a bit of an ambassador for the awards. I can't go too much from there, so I might as well help the awards along. The company behind it, Don't Panic, they just do a really good job. Every year it's got bigger in all the domains that they've looked at, and I think they're talking about doing another one, a global one as well at some point as well. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but hey, it's out now.
So why did
let's talk about the Canadian one. Go on.
Why did you decide to bring it to Canada?
It was the next obvious place, to be absolutely honest with you. The Canadian search scene is ridiculously big. I mean, you can still, North Americans can still enter as well. If you're in the States, if you've got an audience in Canada as well, or customers in Canada, then you're still eligible to enter in the same way that sort of some of the Europeans enter the UK ones. But the thing is about Canada, what was happening was in the US Search Awards, so many of the shortlisted people were, Canadian-born companies. And so the talent in Canada is crazy good, really. So it was the next obvious place to really have a stab at. And
it was because Meghan and Harry have moved here.
Well, we, of course, thought about it before they did. I mean, what can I say? So maybe we'll try and find a personality for the awards night. Maybe Megan will do that for us.
That's great. Now, how did you pick to have the award show in Toronto versus, say, Winnipeg or Vancouver?
Vancouver. Well, that was a tough call, I think.
Or Montreal.
Yeah, well, Montreal's obviously a logical one as well. I think part of that is ease of getting to Toronto. The flights from the UK are easy. There is flights straight to Montreal, and there's of course flights to Vancouver, but it's a long way. But I think the Toronto hub is better for flights. Air Canada comes out of there a lot. We've also got a few people on the ground there, and so we've got a bit of an infrastructure. So we've looked up some really great venues. I don't know which venue we're going to have for the actual event yet, but it's always a fantastic venue. They really go for the best that they can, so it made sense at least this first time round. But I'm not sure whether we'd stay in Toronto. There's every possibility that if we start seeing the shortlists coming in from Vancouver or as you say Montreal or Winnipeg or anywhere else, then we'll pay attention to that. There's a lot of feedback loops in the system to try and make sure that it's going to get better year on year.
So the entries are open right now, so someone could go right now to where?
Yeah. So you go to CanadianSearchAwards.com and you'll see it all there. You can download the entry pack. You can see the dates and deadlines. I think the deadline for entries is you've got a little bit of time. Well, it depends. It depends when this comes out, but the deadline for entries is April the 9th, I think. So there is some time to do that. But I wouldn't try and do it at the last minute. There's a lot of people that do. What I would say is that there's a thing about the judging. If an entry is just done with a few lines, it's going to get noticed and it's not going to get anywhere. The ones that pay attention to the entry rules and put in a good entry are much more likely to make the shortlists at the end of the day. So they do take a bit of time sometimes to get right. I think award entries are an art into themselves.
Yeah. And is there a fee? And if there is one, what is it?
So I don't know what it is on this time round. There's usually a small fee. Do you want me to have a look there, or you find it out and put it on the screen? But sometimes there's a fee. What there is a fee for is the dinner at the end of the thing. If you want to be at the dinner, then obviously it needs to pay for a pretty fancy affair, which is usually in black tie. Well, in the UK, it's in black tie. In Las Vegas for the US Search Awards, that's a sort of just dress to impress is the way they do it. I suspect Canada will be dress to impress, but make it good, okay?
We have a dress code called Canadian Tuxedo. Have you heard of that?
Oh, well, perhaps we should take that back to the to the organizing committee and see if that should be a. So, what do we do in a tuxedo, a Canadian tuxedo?
Actually, I am wearing partly a Canadian.
Oh,
tuxedo
okay.
Today.
Oh, right.
A jean shirt with jean pants and a jean jacket. So Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears sported it a little while ago. But
Okay.
so what you're saying, there is a fee to enter, and then there's a fee to go to the dinner, though. There's two fees, correct?
Yeah, you know what? I should have looked that up before I started. So
Okay.
different things, it works in different ways, on different events.
Yeah.
And so I don't quite know how that all pans out this year.
Okay. And then as far as like what sort of things are they applying for? Like, is it like, hey, I helped my client do really well in search, or I did really good at AdWords, or is it more SEO? Or
So the different categories and things are all listed on there, but there's things like, well, there's best PPC agency, best organic SEO agency, but then that tends to be broken down into verticals as well. So travel will probably have its own category.
Wow.
And then certainly there's always Canadian Search Personality of the Year, and we often they also tend to have a young search personality as well, to try and bring the young blood into the fold. So so the categories are all sort of listed in, and I wouldn't suggest that you enter every single category. But what I would suggest is that you don't be afraid to put the same campaign in one or two categories if they fit in one or two categories. Because if it's a strong campaign, it's a strong campaign, and it may fit in more than one category.
Yeah. So maybe tell me some of the highlights of some of the winners in the past and what they did to give them that edge.
Okay, so I've never been a judge, so so I know that the judges agonize over these things a lot, and they spend a whole day. They do some sort of pre-judging, sort of over the entries with sort of scorecards and things, and then they have big arguments in a big judging session to work out what the winners are. But I have entered a number of times. So as Majestic, we entered for best search technology and stuff, and hopefully there'll be people on the technology side that enter as well. We found that the more we put into the effort of putting in so we ended up writing, quite a good chunk, but we also follow the orders. So quite often the question will say, say in 500 words or less, or say in, and sticking to that, not sticking to that annoys the judges, because they're trying to get some kind of parity so that they can compare. Yeah. The other thing that I hear, I did a blog post on dixonjones.com on how to win a search award, so you have to Google it somewhere, and it's
will it appear in our Google search, you think?
Oh yeah, if you type in how to win a search award site dixonjones.com, it'll definitely appear there. Yeah. And what I did was I asked a lot of the judges what were their pet hates and their pet pet plus and pet minus, and I asked 20 or 30 judges, so you get a really good idea of what annoys judges and what they like. The one thing that I got out of that is they like clarity in the numbers, and really they like clarity in the pounds and pence. So they try and get in-house SEOs to do a lot of the judging. So there's not too much of a I'm an SEO, I want to find out what everyone's doing kind of approach. So the in-house SEOs tend to make really good judges for us, not exclusively, but that's a good part of it. And they all sign NDAs as well. But knowing how a campaign has done in pounds and pence, or dollars and cents in your case, is helpful. If it's all too vague, then they don't know how to compare whether it's a successful campaign or not.
Can you highlight any of the Canadian judges that you have so far?
So I would imagine that Judith Lewis is going to be heading up the Canadian judges, because she's done such a brilliant job in the UK. We've got who are the judges? How many quick? You know what? No, I can't. We don't keep that information very public before the event.
Okay.
So Judith is pretty much a definite one, but we don't make all the budget. Well, on the night, the judges will all be there because they'll all be at the event. I suspect that we try not to make that too obvious before the event publicly.
No, that's cool. So what else do you think people should know as far as they're thinking about it, and what does it do for your agency post winning or even post applying? What can it do for someone?
Sure. Okay. So what it does for your agency is just getting on the shortlist is great, because having because you can start plastering that all over your website, whether you're there or not, whether you get to the award, go to the awards, whatever. But I think that the thing that it does is it shows your customer base that you're in the cream of search marketing. The problem is with search marketing, it's a little bit in the UK where it's like estate agents or a property salesman, or car salesman. It's got that kind of dangerous kind of feel to it. And if you're a company trying to hire an SEO,
it's so unregulated.
Exactly. So it's a form of self-regulation, which I think is a good thing. It's a positive form of, it's self-regulating, if you like.
Yep.
If there are people that say, I'm not going to enter awards because it's one for the boys, one for the one for the it's just scratching each other's back sort of thing. And I think that's absolutely the wrong way to look at an award. I would put it to those people that what they're doing is hiding from the transparency that we all crave in this industry. Having the awards gives that transparency, and it gives that legitimacy to the industry, and I think that's really, really, really valuable.
So tell me about this. When you go to the award show, do you have involvement from like Moz and Ahrefs and SEMrush? Like, are they involved in any of the?
Yeah. So we have sponsors as well, and certainly if any, particularly if the technologies want to sponsor. So Majestic sponsored a lot after we won a few. We thought we'd better stop and start sponsoring some. SEMrush have been headline sponsors in the past. Majestic have been headline sponsors in the past. Ahrefs, I think, we're looking at an Asian one, and that may well be in Singapore, so maybe they'll get involved there. And then we've had the deep crawls, on crawls. Most of the technologies will participate in there, because what happens is a lot of the agencies will buy a table at dinner or get a sponsorship, and that includes a table at dinner and stuff. So there's quite a lot that goes into those sponsorships, from the photo booth on the day to the Twitter wall to the to the vodka luge was my favorite thing to sponsor, actually.
Have you had Neil Patel or Rand Fishkin involved over the years?
No one. Rand's certainly been there to one of them, I'm pretty sure. Neil Patel, I've not seen at any of the events, to be honest with you.
Okay.
In the US or anyway. I mean, I've only met Neil Patel once in Vancouver at a Moz thing. But they've certainly had people there and around for the awards and things in the past. Yeah.
Very cool. So from my fellow, the Queen is our is on our money, right? Fellow Commonwealth ICE.
You guys are still okay with that? You're not trying to leave the Commonwealth today.
No.
Excellent.
No, we're good.
Excellent.
She's cool.
Yeah.
And it's been fun watching The Crown, which is exciting for us, on the Netflix. Very cool.
It's very
good to know her a little more.
I love it. I mean, I don't. This isn't going to go out today, but this is actually being recorded on Brexit Day as well. So it's all going to. I've got 1 hour before Britain goes completely berserk. I got no idea what's going to happen after that. Well, we'll find out.
But you are the country that brought us the office, right? So it's,
sorry about that.
No,
I'm Ricky Gervais.
So what's your closing message? Like, what's your message from the someone who's experienced it, you've seen it, you've tasted it, you've been there? What's your closing message to Canadians and this whole Canadian search award?
Look, if you want to bring the industry into an industry of repute, then it needs a structured search awards, unless you're going to want regulation, which I'm assuming that's not your first choice of things. I think it's a really good way to help the industry get better, because that transparency that goes out there and those peer reviews make this a better place. So it's a great thing to be involved in at whatever level, whether you sponsor it, whether you enter it, whether you judge it, or just or whether you shout about it on media. So thank you very much for doing that, Darian. Because it's been going a long time around the world. It's great to be going to Canada. And I want it to come back to Canada. I want it to keep coming to Canada and get bigger in Canada, because I like you guys,
So here's the question. Google has been great at doing their Google Analytics certificates, their Google AdWords certificate. Hootsuite created a whole Hootsuite social media certificate program. Sprout Social has an amazing certificate program. SEMrush was the first SEO software tool that's created an SEM Rush SEO certificate, and it's almost too easy to pass. It's not that deep or intricate, but they created something. And I asked Neil the same question: why do you think other SEO software companies or SEO companies haven't created some sort of regulating software? Like even Facebook joined it by doing Facebook Blueprint. Well, now if you go to hire someone, if they've got these things.
I think they have. You just got to look for them and believe in the product. So Majestic, you can go to there's a free course on Udemy that will take you all through backlink stuff and how to do backlink marketing. It's had 50,000 people on it, so it's well worth going. So I think there is.
So at the end of Udemy, do you get a certificate from Majestic then that tells you that you passed and you know your stuff?
Yeah, I've I've not taken the course, but so I'm hoping there's a certificate at the end of that. But what I would say is that I think it's fair to say that SEO in particular changes very, very fast, and to have a degree in SEO is a harder thing to have than a degree. I say degree in PPC. But I think the technologies are keen to train people into their technologies. So yeah, there is stuff out there. It's just you have to look at it. I think AHRS have a AHRS university somewhere as well, but I don't know how.
I've yet to see. Like I'm starting to see more, like just slowly people putting their Google certificates on their resume and on their LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Slowly seeing people put Hootsuite and their Sprout Social certificates, but I've yet to really see kind of a regulated, hardcore, like even Facebook Blueprint, you actually have to go to a physical classroom or be webcam to take the exam.
Right.
Like I love they're finally regulating things, but I've yet to see an SEO certificate that's like updated and that exists, because that would be amazing. Because when we go to hire someone, it's like, oh, you've taken the blankety blank certificate. That's great to see on your resume. You must know XYZ.
Surely Moz have one of those. Surely that's what they've been doing for the last 5 years. No.
No, they've been doing the Whiteboard Fridays. They've just been giving away information for free, but yet they've yet to say, hey, because it is a lot of work. Like even Hootsuite, they created this, Hootsuite Academy and created certificates, and it was a lot of work to create, to manage, to update it. But no one's done it for SEO yet. And whenever I've asked someone, like Neil Patel, you think would be the guy to do it, but he hasn't done it.
No, I think the truth is that lots of people have done it for SEO, and the problem is that they go out of date or don't get trusted very quickly. And I think that's a challenge. I think the good thing about the search world as a complementary way of doing that is that it is always fresh, because there's no rules involved, but there is some testing of ideas certainly each time. But certainly, I think I've been involved in people trying to put SEO into degrees, and it's you can do SEO as a module in a degree course of marketing, but of course it changes. Things change and approaches change, and back in when I was learning, frankly. A couple of meta keywords and an iframe on a keyword rich domain. But in fact, I started iframes didn't exist. 100% frame, and you were done. And
on your GeoCities website.
So you couldn't use frames on GeoCities. I'm sorry, that was never tripod maybe. Yeah, but those were the days. No, but I remember my first gig trying to get a big SEO contract was a company called Fig Leaves. I don't know if you've heard of it in the States, but they do underwear and stuff. And so I pitched, and I thought I did a really good job with these guys, and they got a bit of funding, and they were growing, and they wanted to do SEO. And I thought I'd done a really good pitch, explained how SEO worked and stuff. And then I found that this other company called Spannerworks in Brighton had got the business. And I was so annoyed, and I was so young, that I bought women'sunderwear.net and did 100% frame of their Fig Leaves website, got them to #1 on FreeServe, which is a big portal in the UK, which was costing me a penny a click or something like that. phoned them up and said, well, okay, I've got you number one here, here, and here. And how's Spannerworks doing? And they said, have you ever heard of affiliate marketing? So I became one of their best affiliates for the next 5 years, which worked, so there's many ways to have made it work back then. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I appreciate you making the time today. We're really excited to publish this. So Canadians, you now know you got to apply by April, be part of the entries, get on that short list, go to Toronto, maybe Winnipeg, maybe St. John's, maybe Vancouver, and ideally get your award. Do you have your physical award there, Andy Dixon, that we could see?
Yeah. Well, no, I haven't got mine. So I keep mine. Well, we've got the Majestic ones are up in Majestic offices in Birmingham. Yeah, I keep mine at my desk I've got a hot desk at the local university. But it's 9:30 in the evening here on a Friday night, so that's the last place I'm going to be.
No, but they look cool. They look cool. You want some hardware on your desk. This is the award to apply for.
They're solid, and they're yours for life. Absolutely.
Dixon, this was awesome. So we're going to put the link in the description. Those that are listening on the podcast, links in the description there as well. So thank you so much for joining us on a special Marketing Jam episode, talking about this brand new award coming to Canada from the UK, the folks that brought us The Office, Meghan and Harry, all the good things of life, delicious chocolates. Thank you so much for joining us today on Marketing Jam. We'll see you next week for another episode.